It's a theory. It's a Chris. It's a theory. Chris. Chris's crazy theory. Bitey leprechauns. What could possibly be suspicious about bitey leprechauns? Aren't they meant to bite?
I got my Matrix glasses on, courtesy of the Horrific podcast. So now I'm really ready to block out those crazy rays.
That's it, though. Those chemtrails can't get you now. You're protected. So this will be absolutely 100% making sense.
Yeah. I actually like that they're like a little crooked, just like my head.
I just adds it.
It does. I can fix it, but this is way better.
Why do that?
But just to catch up, the audience to what I'm thinking, to climb on board the crazy train. So we got our buddy the leprechaun. This is a good example with the mutton chops on the side and what have you.
Sideburns and mutton chops. Yeah, it's a whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is the part that we're talking about specifically in the hotel room where he bites on Scott's arm. Good old Scotty. And you notice like the long claws or the long nails, which we'll get back to, and the bite. And this is originally what, got me thinking a little bit here. This is like what was left over in his arm. The green blood got, transferred. And so Scott's, starts going through some changes right away. So just as the audience is up to speed with us. And then keeps going. This is some more changes that he's going through. This, by the way, this face, this is how I react to most danger. And also when Dunkin' Donuts is out of French crullers. But you can see that he's really like having a hard time here.
They were almost trying to go American Werewolf in London, weren't they?
I'm so glad you said that. So look at the mutton chops. Look at the facial features. Look at the bushy eyebrows. That is exactly, and we did not talk about this beforehand, people at home, but that is exactly what I was thinking. American Werewolf in London. So we're on the same page despite our attempts of blocking the race from getting us.
I'll have to relook at this, how they're getting through.
American Werewolf in London, by the way, fun fact, that's the last time our two countries came together and did something good. So is Scott turning into a werewolf? Well, let's look at more evidence. So we see this in the hospital, and there was hair growing on his belly, very similar to the reaction in American Werewolf in London, just like you pointed out. A lot of similarities going on here. And this is, what got me realizing the truth, which has always been out there, but undiscovered before me. So if you Google werewolf costume, why would you do that? But if you Google a werewolf costume, this is what you're going to see. This is very typical of what the traditional apparel that a werewolf would have, right? We got the blue jeans and we got a specific red plaid shirt. This is like almost every time very generic what a werewolf will be wearing. Look at Scott in the hospital. Now, up until now, he's been wearing a blue shirt. If I go back a few slides, I call them slides because I'm from 1990. He had a blue shirt on most of the time. All right. But all of a sudden, when he's like almost fully formed, he is now wearing this red plaid shirt, indicative of a werewolf. All right. Now, granted, this is very tenuous proof, and I'm all about further proof. So let's look at something a little bit more detailed. By the way, this doctor was great.
We'll have to talk about that mental scene.
He was really good. But this is a much stronger piece of evidence. So this was one of the coins that we saw, and I was glad that they zoomed in because I started to do some research. That's what you pay me for, right? To do research. I'm not just here for fun.
Of course not.
So this is an actual this is an actual coin. That was, I looked it up and did my research. It was minted around 1806. And if you look at the coin, it says here Charles IV. So this was Charles IV. He was the king of Spain and the ruler of the Spanish Empire from 1788 to 1808, which is during that period, which is when this coin was minted. And if you look at some of the other information, this brought to us, of course, by our buddies at Austin Rare Coins and Bullion. They're frequent members of the show. Not really. But this is...
They're probably aghast. They're like, we're on that? What? No! They're probably horrified.
Yeah, so interesting thing about this, struck in 1806, that's what they say when they mint the coin. It was during the reign of King Charles IV. This gold has a true representation of the grandeur and significance of colonial era coinage. Containing over 2,000 worth of gold value alone, this gorgeous and lustrous coin is one of under 100 known. So there was 100 of these minted, which is 100 gold coins in the pot of gold.
Yes, that's funny enough. There's 100
Those three-
coins in the pot.
Those 3-letter words really throw me sometimes. But listen, why is this important, you ask? I know you're about to ask. So the reason this is important
surely the coins would be from all over, not just one location.
But these coins were all the same. They were all from around this time period. And why is this time period important, you ask? During this time period is the first known werewolf writings, starting with Leech Ritchie, who did a short story in 1831 called The Man Wolf. And there was another book written around this time, Hughes the Werewolf, by Sutherland Menzies. You've been asking where Sutherland's been. He's been right here writing this. This is the first two modern day tellings of the werewolf. So what I think was happening around this time is that there were sightings of the leprechaun. And as a result, you know how, myths get confused over time. We're only hearing the tales of the survivors, right? So they see the transformation of blood. They see the changing of people. They see the long, sharp nails.
Mhm.
They see all this and they're confusing it with the werewolf tale. So they're confusing the leprechauns and werewolf. Now, I can see the doubt in your eyes.
Yeah, I'm like, huh? They're
So-
pretty distinctive. Like
You would think they're distinctive.
so
So
you thinking back to the original time when people used to think sea lions were mermaids?
I'm not saying they're correct. I'm not saying they're
No, but
smart
that's the
people.
original. I don't know if you're aware of that. The original idea of a mermaid came from were sailors who've been in the sea for too long and quite lonely, saw sea lions in the distance and thought
The
they
sea
were.
lions are starting to look pretty good at that point.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I mean. The word, that's where the tale of the mermaid came from. You're like,
Yeah.
how long do you have to be at sea? Like what happens there? How many lonely nights does that have to be?
But I think this is what was happening, is that they were confusing one for the other. And in order for this theory to hold up, the key element, of course, is, of a werewolf myth is that they could only be killed by silver metal, right? So in order for this theory to hold up, there'd have to be some evidence of metal hurting a leprechaun. And that's exactly what we had in Leprechaun 2, where this Joker, what was his name? Charles? We'll go with Charles. So this guy holding up the metal rod and
Was that
attacking.
iron?
It was iron or lead, but again, people can misconstrue things. But the point was like, this is all part of the myth that only metal can harm a leprechaun, only metal can harm a werewolf. You look at all the facial features, you look at the claws, you look at the transformation, and this is what I think happened. Now, listen, I'm not saying that leprechauns are werewolves, right? I mean, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
That would be utterly daft. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, and stay with me, you're damn right I'm saying it. Leprechauns are werewolves. And that's my theory.
There you go, folks.